Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild. What if I told you there was a cheat code to a bad meeting? What if I told you there was a way to actually have a more successful meeting, a more successful connection to where you could connect quicker, communicate cleaner, and close more frequently? It's not magic. It's simply mirroring. And mirroring is understanding and knowing not only who you're working with, it's reading and adjusting to the room. It's not abandoning who you are and pretending you're somebody that you're not. It's simply reflecting back their personality and maneuvers and those things to mirror and match so that it builds trust because their brain is processing. And imagine if you had somebody sitting in front of you and you're very high energy and you can tell they are very reserved and you're bouncing off the walls and they're thinking, my brain can't even process because you're going a mile a minute and you're talking here and you're going here and you're animated, and they're reserved and quiet and methodical. And the truth is, you have that side to you too, but you're currently not mirroring, you're performing. And whenever you're performing, even if it feels the most authentic to yourself, you have a risk of lack of connection, right? Of having awkwardness, of maybe feeling like, gosh, have you ever just walked into a room and left later and thought we just didn't click? I will tell you, learning how to mirror is a subconscious connection builder. And it is so critical in sales in general, but really in relationship and communication in general. When you see a child, think of it this way. I want you to think of your business for a minute. You're about to go meet with a great new referral account opportunity or a great new client, and they're combative. And I think of a 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. Imagine as a parent, if you got on the floor and started kicking and screaming as well. Imagine if you started stomping your feet and doing those things. Now that actually is mirroring in many different ways, but imagine that versus I'm going to get on their level and find a way to communicate and break down whatever barriers are there. We do it all the time if you think about it in parenting and in different situations. We have to get better at it in our business. We have to get better at it. And so it's awareness and alignment, not manipulation, to be able to mirror and ultimately get people to feel more comfortable with you and more familiar with you. And to do that, you have to get them out of that fight or flight mode in their brain, which means you have to be able to mirror. Right? Very, very, very big deal. So how do you do it? So first of all, we have to break down the framework of kind of DISC, whether it's colors, personality types, the Enneagram, all of those things. Let me break it down for a minute in layman's terms. One is the driver, domination, results driven. It's fast paced. So when you find someone speaking fast-paced, task-focused, bottom line driven, bottom line thinkers, signs of it, short emails, fast decisions, not a lot about fun and jokey, not chummy, if you will, very much, hey, I need, as if I was mirroring that client, I need to be direct, I need to be prepared, and I don't over explain. There's bottom lines. Now, if you can get through that by speaking their language initially, then you can start adding some things into the mix after that trust barrier has been torn down and now you are through the gates, right? Now there might be an opportunity to not over explain, but give it a little more explanation. But at the beginning, that mirroring is so incredibly important because they want what they want. And your job is to find a way to give it to them. Very important when you have a driver, dominant, those things. So watch for those signals and play into them. Incredibly important. Next one, expressive, influencer. Hi, I'm a people person. I'm a feeler in many ways. High energy, love stories, Very much a people person. You can tell instantly. Likability factor is likely through the roof. Signs, they talk with their hands. I'm so guilty of all of this. I have both in me, but man, this is my eye just beats out my D a little bit. Talks with hands, shares personal stuff quickly, willing. I share my whole life all the time, right? Very high I in that. Mirror and match their enthusiasm, their emotion, ask about passions, ideas, family, awareness, people, influence, all of those things. You want to talk about those hopes and dreams and ideas and really hone into what gets them bubbling over with their not only excitement, but really passion is that word, right? Very big win in that space. Now, often you will find a mix in couples in general or multi borrowers, multi purchasers, anybody buying, you'll see a mix. And sometimes people understand I'm really peoply. I need to bring this person with me to hold me. The other day, my kids went to go buy a car and they go, Mom, come with us. We want you to come with us. And we were guiding through essentially why. One of them's like, I kind of roll over really easy and I'm afraid I'm going to get taken advantage of, right? Oh, you've got the high I in you, right? Like there's a little bit of a difference there, or the S. You need possibly the C and the D to join you in that purchase to balance things out. So being very aware that multiple personalities, right? One couple isn't uniformed or two borrowers aren't uniformed. You definitely need to be able to play to both and determine who that decision maker is. Different podcast, but very important. Number 3, the analytical, the thinker. This would be the S, if you will. This would be the C on the DISC profile. They are detail oriented. They are logical. They are very risk averse. Risk averse. Hear me on that. When you think about that, risk averse. Things like maybe an arm would work for you. Terrible thing when you talk to a high C, most likely, right? You might say in advance, hey, contrary to popular belief, arms are very risky. That's what people believe. But let me inform you about a few things that I think would play into the goals you have on the spreadsheet, right? So instead of just, we could try an arm, which would be very much a high I, you would approach that conversation so differently when they are in the analytical, the thinker, the high C. What else? Signs. They ask a lot of questions. They want a lot of information and data. Man, did I struggle with this client for the longest time until I learned to adapt. I hit them with information first. I recapped everything in writing with my high C's. I was very clear, but I was very data driven, information given. I attached the spreadsheets for your review so that I could back up the words that I'm saying, right? Very important. So what do you do through that? You're thorough. You slow your roll. You show your logic behind your proposals, your ideas, if you will. You always back them up with data, information, things that bring them add, right? So they're not going out and having to research on their own or feeling untrusting of the information. It's not necessarily maybe that they don't even trust you. They naturally don't trust in general. They need more data to then proceed. Very important. Last one, the supporter, the harmonizer, the S in the D profile. Relationship driven still, very loyal, very steady. They talk about others frequently and they avoid conflict. It's a very big thing. They avoid conflict. So hard things that come up very, very hard in the S because they're a little bit of a mix, if you will, of your I and your C. You almost blend those two together to get your S, if you will. And the S in that supporter, harmonizer, neutralizer, it's hard for them to make a decision. They almost want somebody to make it for them, but they do want to feel heard and safe in that space. So you want to be warm when you're dealing with an S. You want to build trust slowly. You want to show that you care. Incredibly important that you're showing that you care when you're working with an S so that they feel seen, heard, but also just supported. Really, really important in the S world. So here's what I would say. In real life, when you meet with someone, first 60 seconds at any given time, I want you to listen more than you talk. Ask questions that are open-ended and pay attention to things like their speed, their detail, their connection, their control, words they use. I feel, I think, I know, I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm surprised. Whatever words they use, I guarantee you it plays into all of those arenas. Adjust your tone, your pace, and your priorities to reflect theirs so that it feels more comfortable to them and it helps them stay in their best decision making mode. This is on the sales calls. This is whether you are meeting face to face. This is when you are dialing initially for an appointment. You can literally use this all over the place. Meeting someone new outside of work, it doesn't matter. It applies everywhere. And when you can mirror, when you have that ability, it changes everything. Changes everything. I tell our marketing department all of the time, you're dealing with salespeople. And in a creative, sometimes there's lots of words and there's lots of stories and those things. But when salespeople get in, a lot are high D. When you see high D, they want bullet point bottom line. There could be all the details behind the scenes that maybe they might dig into, but the truth is they just kind of want to know the high level overview. That's important because it's speed and execution, right? You have to know who you're talking to be the very best at your role and to have that utility player inside of you that can adapt. It took me a long time to not only learn this, but to be taught and understand it. Nobody ever spoke of it previously. You just kind of were who you were. And you did walk out of a lot going, that didn't go so well. That was awkward. Man, this didn't really work. And I promise you, this is the cheat code. So remember this, mirroring doesn't mean faking. It truly means tuning in. People feel seen when we speak their language, not ours. It's like going to Mexico. I don't speak Spanish, but when I can use my translate and work on my Spanish a little bit, they get more engaged with me because I'm showing an effort. It's no different in speaking someone's personality language as it is speaking their language directly. It will dissipate frustration. So practice for a week. Spend one person at a time. Watch your influence grow with people. Start to realize, hey, I'm watching them. I see what they are. Can I mirror? How did I do? Was that a more impactful conversation? And ask people that are going to tell you the truth. I would love, 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 love to hear your feedback of your mirroring, if you're really practicing it, how it makes a difference in your business. Find me on social media, attend our Scaling Your Skills calls that we do every single Friday. Shoot me a message if you need a link for them. And then also we do obviously 2 events a year, and we'd love to have you join us at one of those. If whether you're a real estate agent or a lender, if this was helpful, I hope you share it. And I'm just really grateful. Thanks for being a listener and being part of the Wild Podcast. We'll see you soon.